Hello everyone and welcome to day 3 of our Blastoise Keldeo week. Now, yesterday we had 4 games total in our video. It was 3 quick wins where we got the turn 1 Blastoise pretty much, and our opponents, it was 2 actually. One, our opponent timed out, and in the other 2 we got such dominating starts that our opponent conceded right away, and in the other one we just got a turn 1 knockouts on our opponent's only Pokemon in play. So the last game ended up being a lot closer and longer, of course, and now we finally found a game against a Psychic deck, if I saw correctly, against RG0508, and it's actually a Crobat deck and it has super scoop ups. So this is probably Seismitoad Crobat, which our execute start is obviously not ideal, but let's see here. We have the Archies already, so we need to get the Blastoise, and I think we have a good chance of getting that turn 1 Blastoise here. Let's see. This won't really affect us. I think I'd rather Mewtwo or Articuno. No, probably Mewtwo. Although sleeping Seismitoad could be nice. No, I'm gonna keep Mewtwo here. I think it's more important for this matchup. Now let's see, another Acrobike. Gonna get a Trainer's Mail. And let's see here, Trainer's Mail gets us a Floatstone, which we can play, but this is still not enough, I don't think. I still need some way to discard the Blastoise, and there's the computer search. Okay, this guarantees Blastoise, I believe. Let me think here, just 1 second. There's how many energy? There's 1 in the discard pile. So I have to discard these 2 cards in order to get the Blastoise, and then I'm gonna computer search the Blastoise and another energy, yep, to get a Keldeo. And now that we have Keldeo, we can attach the Floatstone, bench the Mewtwo as well, and there is, no, not Articuno, a turn 1 Blastoise with 5 more cards. Now, thankfully, we get some pretty useful cards here. Gonna get rid of the energy, and I'm also gonna get rid of the other executes, and probably the Blastoise, yep. Now, I want to make sure our hand isn't left with too many trainers, just because we are probably, or we are very likely to get locked next turn. So I definitely want to make the best use out of all the trainers here. And okay, I'm gonna get rid of these 2, get back all 4 energy. I got rid of 1 energy with the Battle Compressor in order to maximize our superior energy retrieval, which, as you can see, there's 3 of them already in our discard pile, so we have to be very careful with our energy. Now let's play the Acrobike. We get an Ultra Ball, and I'm actually gonna keep the Ultra Ball, use the Execute once again, and I'm gonna go for a Shaman here, so that we have a fresher hand. Since the Versus Seeker was useful, but there were no Sycamore or anything in our discard pile for us to use. So I'm gonna bench this other guy, I'm gonna deluge another energy, and I'm still missing 2 more energy to get a KO, and unfortunately I think this is as far as we go. Gonna get 1 Archie's back just in case. And what other supporter do we have here? Another Archie. So this is pretty much all we're gonna do this turn. Now Lysander can help us bypass Seismitoad and things like that, or we can actually 2-hit KO Seismitoad. thanks to the Floatstone and Keldeo, we're not in any trouble of being locked by a Hypnotoxic Laser. And we have the Stadium, Rough Seas, so we can potentially heal some damage off from our water Pokemon at least one turn, which will be pretty nice. Now I left Execute up there because I don't mind giving up that price, to be honest. Our opponent, if he wants to win, he'll likely have to go through 3 Pokemon EX, and that means both Execute will be available to us next turn in order to discard or something. And as you can see, we're not getting locked either. So next turn we could actually take a KO and Shaman, or start damaging that Seismitoad with a Muscle Band attached. Now my opponent gets 1 prize, but like I said, I really don't mind. What I do want to do here, I think my best play is to just... Okay, he promoted this Seismitoad. So... perhaps he has the DCE, perhaps he has some way to AC. There's 3 Super Scoop up in the discard pile already. So, just for the AC prizes, I'm gonna go after Shaman here. There's no energy here that we can use for our superior energy retrieval. So, just gonna Secret Sword, take the KO, and look at this. There's the Sycamore, and there's another energy. So, as long as we draw 1 more energy, we play 11. One more energy out of the 19 cards we have left in our deck should be pretty good here, actually. And wow, the Dene. Okay, so the Dene does worry me a bit, especially now that I have the superior energy retrieval in my hand, because if I use Sycamore to discard it and the Dene takes a KO, then that means we will still be locked, or rather we won't have any more superior energy retrieval, so I have to be very careful with my energy here. And there's a 150. I couldn't really do much else, and I don't want to get rid of the superior energy retrieval just yet. Now, if my opponent gets a laser here, okay, never mind. With Golbat, that's enough to KO us. So my best bet for next turn is to actually get a KO with Mewtwo. So my opponent's playing really well, actually, really well. And I'm gonna be forced to discard the superior energy retrieval anyway, so I might as well would have used Sycamore last turn. And yep, we do not get another energy. There's 5 of them in our discard pile. There's 1 more in play, and we still have 5 more energy, but we did not get another energy right now. This could prove very troublesome. Quaking Punch is a very strong attack. There's 2 more damage counters. Now I'm wondering if attaching to Mewtwo was a mistake here. There's Crobat, so he could potentially take a KO on the active if he attaches an energy. Plays AC, gets back a Crobat. There's 3 more damage counters. Yikes. Okay. Now, I think I'm forced to Sycamore once again, which will put us in a clock. Yeah, there's 4 more energy. That's very unfortunate for us. Very unfortunate. Now, since Mewtwo is heavily damaged, I'm actually gonna power up Keldeo here. Because if I let Mewtwo go down, I'm at risk of Shaman getting Lysandered up. But if I just do it this way, there's only 3 energy on Keldeo, so the Dene is not that big of a threat. And there's still more more possibilities for us. The unfortunate part is we cannot recover any more energy. So we are down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's 5 in the discard. So at most we only have 1 more energy, which really, really sucks for us. Gonna take the KO with Keldeo. We get 2 versus Seekers, which, unless he stops Quaking Punch, will be pretty useless. And he used Golbat onto Mewtwo, which I'm fine with, because okay, he's going to end us right now, and Mewtwo is in danger of getting knocked out here. In a lot of danger. I wonder what he got. All he has to do is... okay, then it does 20 per energy. So with a muscle band, that'd be 80. He's only played 1 Hypnotoxic Laser, I believe. 2 of them, okay. So I don't think I can do very much other than Secret Sword. My opponent still needs a good amount of cards in order to win next turn. There's a Versus Seeker. He gets Colress. Okay. So if he plays a Crobat down, Mewtwo EX will go down. If he attaches and retreats and gets the Dene with a laser, he wins. And since he's drawing 2 prizes here, so all he needs is an energy to retreat. Yeah, there it is. There's the Dene, and that's 60 damage. Okay, now fortunately for us, we are no longer under lock. Our Lysander is in the discard pile, so all we have to do is Lysander either Seismitoad or Jirachi for the win. So that was very, very close, despite our super strong start. My energy management was not ideal, because I didn't manage to one-hit KO a Seismitoad. I always 2-hit KO'd them, so attaching 5 energy to the first Keldeo was pretty useless. So I should keep that in mind for next time. Like, attaching so many energy to Keldeo, put it in possible Dedenne range, and it also made it so, because I had to get rid of so many superior energy retrievals early on, it was difficult for me to find energy later on. So yeah, at least we won though. Like I said, my opponent needed a lot of cards to win that next turn. I'm surprised he didn't get a laser on that last turn, but I'm definitely not complaining here. Now we have the Archies in our hand. Let's see if... okay, so the superior energy retrieval is probably one of the cards we needed in order to get that turn 1 Blastoise, which I'm very happy about. My opponent is apparently running Mega Manectric with Garbodor, so we really need a very explosive turn 1, and the Lysander onto Garbodor is something that I will probably be relying upon in order to be able to have a decent late game, mid to late game. Now my opponent got rid of the Archies and 2 Empoleon, so it's Mega Manectric, Empoleon, Garbodor. This deck got top 8 at US Nationals in last season, so let's see how we do here. Okay, let me see what I get with Trainer's Mail. I actually get nothing. Okay, so I am going to get rid of the Archies. No. Okay, let me think really quickly here. I need to get a Blastoise in order to discard it with superior energy retrieval. Therefore, I definitely have to discard the energy, and I can discard the executes. I get a Blastoise, and now I play the superior energy retrieval, get rid of these two cards, get my energy back. I play down the Jirachi, but I don't use its power. I attach an energy and I play the Archies, netting us our turn 1 Blastoise here. Now with 2 more energy, we can take a KO on 1 Trubbish, which is definitely ideal. We have 1 energy already. I'm gonna get rid of anything that doesn't help us, which is execute. The other Blastoise, or actually gonna get rid of 1 energy and the other Blastoise. Why 1 energy? Because that makes it so that if we draw a superior energy retrieval, we can get the KO. Whereas without energy, if we don't draw any energy after we use Shaman and we do draw a superior energy retrieval, then we're stuck in the same scenario where we cannot attack. No, yes, I'm active. Game, just wait a second. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of the other Archies. Now I'm gonna power up Keldeo, I'm gonna play down Articuno, and I'm gonna Shaman for 5. We got energy, thankfully, and I'm gonna play a bit more conservatively this time with our energy. Although, if he gets a Garbodor next turn, that's the end of the Deluge. So, okay, I'm going to Deluge here. And take the KO on Trubbish. Really glad we can KO that Trubbish early on. He promotes the other one, so yeah, there's Garbodor. There's a Versus Seeker. It's going to get Lysander. So if he Lysanders, yeah, Blastoise. And now I'm stuck. Okay. So here, and I top deck the other superior energy retrieval. That's not good. Now I'm either going to have to power up Blastoise or find the Floatstone. Odds of either are not very good actually. So I'm gonna attach the energy there and gonna play the superior for 1 more energy, and I'm gonna pass the turn. I'm not gonna Sycamore. My opponent is clearly stuck. Okay, he uses N, and we do not draw energy. Although now we can fully utilize the superior energy retrieval in order to get 5 energy. And we could potentially get rid of a Lysander in order to be able to get rid of Garbodor. But I feel a lot better just manually powering up Blastoise here. Gonna get rid of these 2, get back 3 energy, and by attaching to Blastoise, my opponent is in a timer. He really needs to get something down. He needs to find his Manectric EXs, he needs to find his Mega Manectrics. I got the 2 energy back after the end, so I'm pretty glad about that. And he's not playing Manectric down, he's not having too much luck here. He wants to power up Kyurem, but I'm not very threatened by Kyurem, to be honest. There's a Manectric, and now he's going to power it up. That's the right play for sure. Now this Garbodor though, it's very annoying. Okay, he does 20-20. I top deck the Lysander. So next turn, gonna make my deck thinner. I don't need the Sycamore right now. What I do need are energy. Especially since I'm down to my last. I don't think we have any superior energy retrieval left, do I? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, nope. So my opponent cannot Mega Evolve and take a KO on Blastoise next turn, which I'm very, very glad about. As you can see, he's still stuck. He didn't do anything. And I'm actually gonna power up Blastoise and I'm gonna take the KO on Cardboard or with Blastoise. Let me just make sure. 60 plus 10 more, we have 4 energy. Yeah, that's more than enough to KO this pesky Cardboard. And next turn we have the Lush back online. And with a Muscle Band and a 2 energy we have in our hand, we can actually take a KO on Manectric EX. Now I have to be very careful though, because if I put all my eggs in one basket, I attach everything to this Keldeo in order to get a KO, then I won't be able to power up anything else during my next game. And he gets the Manectric EX off the end, so Blastoise is out now. And he can power up something on the bench. So I think actually my best strategy here is to rely on KOing Jirachi and Shaman to win here. I'm gonna power up Keldeo. Gonna play the Rough Seas because I know he's using Rough Seas himself, and I'm just gonna Lysander. I'm gonna Lysander the Shaman because he could potentially put that Shaman back into his hand, but the only way he gets Jirachi out of play is with an AC. So by taking this prize, now my goal in this game is to KO Jirachi. That's all I have to do to win this game, despite not having Blastoise in play. And that's the reason I probably should have not taken the KO with Blastoise. I got a bit too cocky, I guess. But I still have some good plays here now. There's 14 cards left in my deck. Let's see how many are Versus Seeker. There's 1 Versus Seeker and 1 Computer Search. And there's Shaman. So what are the cards that do not help me if I hit them with the Trainer's Mail? Kyogre doesn't help me. Shaman does. Acrobat does. The Floatstone does not help me. And neither does Keldeo. So every other card here, except the energy, helps me find that Versus Seeker. So by making my deck thinner here, I'm giving myself the best odds of hitting that Versus Seeker. And as you can see, there it is. So now all I have to do is Versus Seeker for Lysander, take the KO on Jirachi, and that's game. If for some reason I had not hit my Lysander this turn, or the Versus Seeker rather, I could have Sycamored and my deck would have been pretty small by that point. So unless my opponent found a way to get 5 prizes in one turn, I still had pretty good odds. Were in my favor to win that game, despite letting Blastoise go down, which honestly was a bit careless. But I didn't take the KO with retreat and take the KO with Keldeo because he needed a lot of cards to KO Blastoise, and he was drawing dead as well. So by taking the KO with Blastoise and conserving that energy, potentially in the late game, that Blastoise, if the active Keldeo fell or something, it was 4 energy in play, and Blastoise was dealing 100 damage, which could have potentially KO'd the Jirachi itself. So it was a kind of future thinking which didn't really affect us, but there could have been many possible scenarios where those 4 energy in play were crucial, since we did not have any more superior energy retrieval to get them back. And yeah, that will be all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Definitely these games were a lot more entertaining and helpful for me as a learning experience with this deck. Please help me with the likes as always. Let's try to get at least 10 in each video this week. And that will be all. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.